So one of the hottest topics over the weekend actually had a lot to do with who's playing Xbox and who's playing PlayStation, and some surprising sort of announcements like that from a site that actually tracks how long it takes to beat games and things like that. And this is a rather new site, I believe, and they do a good job of keeping track of how long basically on average it takes to beat a game. And I feel like they do a good job. I've used the site numerous times, and I've really come away with a great feeling for what they do and things like that. But with that being said, they put out this list of most played consoles, and I thought that the list was very interesting, just strictly for the number of people that are playing the games. Okay, the good instances, number one would be PC, which, okay, I'll buy that. Number two, PlayStation 4, again, I'll buy that. Number three, Nintendo Switch, sure, why not? There's about 100 million of those things in the world right now. Number four, PlayStation 5, okay, I mean, there's 15 million of them. Number five, PlayStation or Xbox One, that makes sense. Number six, PlayStation 3. And number seven, Xbox Series X and S. Number eight, Xbox 360. At number 9, Nintendo 3DS. Number 10, PlayStation 2. Now, it starts to fall apart for me. Like, I can buy into a lot of this, but it starts to fall apart for me with the PlayStation 3 above the Xbox Series X and S. And after doing some digging, I came to some very interesting kind of conclusions from this, and I want to get into it because I feel like it's going to be a very good topic and a very good video that you won't want to miss. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crapgamer, and of course this is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice some changes around here. Hopefully that doesn't stop you from at least giving us a like and possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today, especially around the holidays. Hopefully you guys are all doing well, and I can't wait to, see what everybody gets on Christmas. Hopefully if you wanted an Xbox, you got one. If you want a PlayStation, you got one. I'm really hoping that's sort of where we kind of go with this. Now, this list, right? So I looked into this list, and it's a very interesting list because, like I said, you can almost take the first 5 as being legit for overall, but the more you look into it, the more you can see that this is only for this site, right? And also I wanted to point out that I can understand that there's some countries and some places that aren't as up to date as, like here in America and things like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, and so that they play other consoles. I believe that, like in Brazil, I think the Sega Master System was incredibly popular and still produced up until kind of recently, and I think that that's something that really kind of comes to fruition. So anyway, basically the Sega Master System is definitely known as something very interesting over there, like I said, and this was something that I kind of thought about. I'm like, well, is this a legit thing? Where do they get their source from and things like that? So the interesting thing here is that the Sega Master System and Genesis are still produced under licenses and being sold in Brazil, and this is an article that I'm reading that's just 2 years old, where they routinely outsold modern game consoles due to the high tariffs, making imported consoles very expensive. Almost half of all Sega Master Systems ever sold were sold in Brazil. So, and then somebody else kind of mentions that consoles are produced by Tectoy that have licenses since the 90s, and they're really small. They don't accept cartridges, but they come with more than 100 games in HDs. And also they're saying that PS2s are still popular because with mod chips you can get pirated games for a little bit of money. So again, it doesn't surprise me that, it wouldn't surprise me that some of these situations would see other countries maybe playing, some of these other consoles a little bit more. But where you start to doubt it is the PlayStation 3, because I don't know really anybody that's playing PlayStation 3. I mean, at least not more than, say, an Xbox X and S or a Nintendo 3D. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think that a lot of people are using this as kind of fanboy fodder, which I understand because I can get next to that. I think like the whole fanboy situation is funny, and it tends to be something that I find to be humorous at times, but everybody was using this, I felt like, for the wrong reasons, to be honest with you, right? Like, where do you get the information? Where do they get the information from? I think by looking into it, they only get the information from it from users on their site who maybe have logged in and things like that. So, oh yeah, speaking of the whole thing with Brazil, this is funny because here's the true fact that'll blow your mind. The game maker started out, Sega started out as an American company, not as a Japanese one. Sure, much of the success came about after it moved to Japan, but it was not by any means a company that necessarily needed Japan like notable competitors, Nintendo, Sony, and NEC. Well, the company had sold a solid era of major success in the American market, where the Sega Genesis went toe-to-toe with Super Nintendo and became one of the most popular systems of the 90s. It was Brazil where Sega finally came into its own. Basically, the number of Master System consoles in the market in Brazil, based on this is from back in 2012, was 5 million. That's a larger install base in Brazil than for the Genesis, which sold 3 million. The website notes a stunning fact: despite being a console that's nearly 30-year-old, it sells around 150,000 units per year in the country. That's a level that holds its own compared to the more modern consoles like the PlayStation 4. So yeah, very interesting stuff. And it just goes to show, that basically, you can find anything. Anybody can find any of these things that they want to kind of argue their points. And I think that that's something that, we're always going to continue to see. People really look at video games, obviously, as almost like sports teams. And I've said that for a very long time now. And, we really do find it to be incredulous when people kind of look at things and go, hey, you know what? It is so weird to me that, people want to argue over this and try to pretend. Listen, people want the Xbox Series X. They do. And people play Xbox. They have, if you count everything they're doing, almost 100 million monthly active users, and obviously, people wanted to do one thing or the other, but I behoove you guys, no matter how big of a fanboy you might be, you don't want one company or the other to fail completely. You don't want that. Believe me when I say that. Us as fans should not cheer for that to happen, because once that happens, could you imagine a situation where we as gamers are stuck in a kind of this weird loop where, we're very much stuck with one company? I mean, let's not even count Nintendo. Nintendo seems to do their own thing, but could you imagine if we as fans were kind of stuck with one company dictating prices, dictating everything we get? I don't think anybody realizes just how bad that would be, and how that wouldn't be a great thing for, gamers or anybody in general, for the industry. We should be cheering the industry to do well. The more consoles sell, the better. The more games sell, the better. Let's just all continue to hope that happens and support our favorite hobby. But I did think this was interesting, but I wanted to set it straight that this list is completely off of people who go to this website. That's it, So, it's probably numbered in the thousands, but we don't know where the traffic comes from and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to set the record straight with that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Crapgamer, out.